Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy here, um, doing another video. Uh, this video is I'm gonna be talking about All Elite Wrestling, their second rally that they just had a couple of days ago. Actually, I wanted to do a video talking about it right then and there that same day because I was just so hyped off the rally. I thought it was really good, better than the first, actually. But I didn't have time to do it, the same day because other things got in the way. But I'm doing one now. Just finished watching. Just got caught up on UFC 230. I'm sorry, yeah, UFC 234 pay per view with the Israel Israel versus Anderson Silva. Solid main event. Loved it. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so All Elite Wrestling had the second, press conference or rally, whatever you want to talk about it. In in hindsight, it was to give more ticket information, releasing the tickets for the Double or Nothing show, as well as have some new signings. Um, so the rally kicked off with their first signing, actually, which was Sunny Kiss. Um, I've seen a few matches of Sunny Kiss. I don't know a lot about him. Um, I've heard from a lot of, you know, I've watched people's receptions and their reviews of this rally or whatever, and a lot of people say that they think Sunny Kiss is a good signing. That it shows, the diversity of the All Elite roster and what they're trying to accomplish, and being, diverse and whatnot. Um, I mean, if the guy can go and if he's great, then great. I mean, just for me personally, I'm not into the, hyperactive, metrosexual, homosexual, openly gay wrestler type of like gimmicks. That's not me. That's the cool thing about wrestling. You're going to find something for you, and wrestling really is the medium where there's something for everybody. A character, a persona like Sunny Kiss, not for me personally. I mean, him twerking his butt, on a man's face is not appealing to me as a wrestling fan. Like, I don't know. But, if there's an audience for that, and obviously, reputable people, like Sean Sapp, for example, a wrestling journalist, he thinks it's a good signing. So, there's an audience for that. So if that's for you, then that's for you. But for me, not my taste. Um, but still, big signing, whatever. And other couple signings we have were from best friends Trent Beretta and Chucky T. I didn't think they were going to leave New Japan, so that was kind of weird. But that is the I guess you said that's the first tag team besides Young Bucks has been signed onto the AEW brand. Uh, Young Bucks came out and spoke very highly of they wanted to make tag team wrestling a major focal point, and that tag team wrestling can be the main event. Um, Kind of makes you wonder if they were kind of maybe taking uh, some jabs at WWE for making statements like that, because they made them quite often. Then we get the surprise signing, or really not a surprise for those of us who already knew, like a couple days ahead. Lucha Bros, Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr. are with All Elite Wrestling. A couple days before, there was a thing going around the internet that they had signed with AEW, and then Chris Jericho sent out a tweet saying, "Hey, I just heard that Pentagon and Phoenix have signed exclusively with All Elite Wrestling." But come to find out, and watching from Being the Elite episode, it was more of a handshake agreement. No contracts were given to the Lucha Bros, and Pentagon and Phoenix are still working with MLW, Impact Wrestling. They're still working with them, as well as now working with All Elite Wrestling, so no exclusive contracts. But still, they came on stage, made a statement, attacked, I think it was Matt Jackson, Pentagon sent the power driver through. That was awesome to see. So definitely that's one of the matches that's going to be confirmed. Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. That should be awesome. We also saw the signing of, oh God, I forgot the kid's name. Sammy Guevara. I think I had it right. I might have the first name wrong, but I know I got the last name right. The Guevara, Sammy Guevara, who is the current cruiserweight champion in AAA. Which, by the way, they announced that AEW and AAA now have a working relationship together. AAA's cruiserweight champion, Sammy Guevara, is now All Elite Wrestling. He is one of their signed talents. Not exclusive, but I guess he's probably going to be a reoccurring face that we'll see from AEW. From AAA over to All Elite. I've seen a few of his matches, not a lot, but the guy is good. He can go. He's a good cruiserweight. So that was another signing that we had. Then moving up from there, Brandy Rhodes came out. Brandy made made like several announcements. Actually, she ended up signing like 3 more women to the roster. I didn't pay attention to this segment of the rally just because I ended up I was making my dinner in the process of watching this, and so at that moment during the rally, my focus was shifted off the rally and onto making sure my dinner was prepared so I wouldn't burn anything or burn the kitchen down. But from what I saw, they signed some pretty good women on their roster. At least 4 new women have been added to the All Elite roster. Fast forward, we get to Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky, and Christopher Daniels. They bring out OWE, Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, which was one of the first partnerships that the Young Bucks had announced, a working relationship that All Elite Wrestling will have with one of these wrestling companies since their first press conference. There's a nice little video package kind of showcasing and giving a taste of what OWE is like. And Christopher Daniels made an announcement, said, hey, how about you send, 2 of your best, or not 2 of your best, but like your best tag team or whatever, and bring them to Double or Nothing. So another match that's been announced, we're going to have SCU versus, whatever tag team talent that Oriental Wrestling Entertainment will send. Which, by the way, I was able to check them out because I haven't heard of them before, other than the first time when Nick Jackson had mentioned this new working relationship with them and the connection he has with the president of that organization. They're on YouTube. You can check them out. OWE, Oriental Wrestling Entertainment. Say that 3 times fast. I checked them out, and it's different. It's different, and it's different in a good way, and it's refreshing. It's interesting. I definitely will check it out more. I saw maybe 2 to 3 episodes, but there's definitely something special there. And if they can do some sort of talent exchange, which I'm sure that AEW are going to be doing with a lot of these companies that they're partnering up with, if they can take that and bring some of that flavor and that magic that makes those companies unique and different and special, and bring it to a wider audience, mainstream and All Elite, that's going to be something awesome and pretty cool. And I think something that would have them stand out amongst the competition here stateside. So that was really cool. Trying to see what else. Oh, Adam Hangman Page. Adam Hangman Page came out. Was cutting the promo. Then we get a video via satellite of Pac, formerly known as Neville, coming in, interrupting Hangman Page again. He wasn't there in person, but he sent a video package. Cutting the promo was awesome. This is also another match that is going to be on Double or Nothing that they confirmed right there in the rally. Hangman Page versus Pac. I think this is going to be a good match. Adam Page is a wrestler who I always thought was just he was okay. I mean, as a wrestler, he's okay. And to me, he was always like the second or third tier guy in Bullet Club behind the core group of Bullet Club and the elite. However, I would say probably over the past year, and especially now since AEW is becoming a thing, Adam Cole, I'm not Adam Cole, Adam Page. Adam Page is definitely kind of starting to you can feel his maturity as a character, and you can kind of feel like once AEW kicks off, he's definitely going to be one of their main focuses in the company. Maybe even be like the baby face of their top poster child for their company. Maybe could be Kenny Omega too, which I'm gonna get to in a second. And that's a possibility, but definitely I can see them building at least for quite a while. I can see them building Hangman Page as one of their top tier guys in AEW, and also have Pac be that polar opposite in terms of like being the top heel of AEW, and maybe have Hangman Page chase Pac for the title or something like that. I definitely see that coming. Um, so yeah, that was cool. I was excited. And then we get on to the main event thing itself. What everyone knew, all the rumors, all the speculations, everything came down to this. Kenny Omega has now signed with All Elite Wrestling. Omega is AEW, and Omega is now also vice president for All Elite Wrestling, which now makes, four VPs for AEW: the Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and now Omega. Omega came out, did his thing, talked to the mic saying, hey, when I talked about speaking of changing the world, I couldn't really put it into words, into what I really meant about changing the world. And now that I'm part of All Elite, this is what I meant. And Jericho's music hits. Jericho comes out. They have a little stare down, and then Jericho throws the first punch. Security agents come to separate the two. That is the next match. Because as of me recording this, the latest episode of Being the Elite, which aired yesterday, I'm sorry, not yesterday, today I think it was. They announced Jericho versus Omega 2 that we're getting at Double or Nothing. So yeah, that closed it out. Kenny Omega did his trademark, goodbye, good night thing. And that was the end of the rally. It was an hour 30 minutes, but it was great. This was a great conference. The one thing I liked about this conference, not only was just the signings or everything, but it felt like a big deal. It did. This didn't feel like it was a run in the mill type of, oh, this is an indie company that, we're starting up a business and, hey, we're here type of like thing. This felt like it really felt like the rebirth of a big mainstream company, wrestling company in America. That's not WWE. There were some nitro, it did kind of remind me a little bit of like a WCW. I think was it Panama City when they first signed Hulk Hogan back in '94. It kind of reminded me of that. It had a little bit of a WCW feel. They were outside. Excuse me. One of the things I thought, the scenery looked great. Over by the poolside, it was at night. They were actually outside. I think they actually filmed it outside the MGM studio in Vegas, which I thought was great. It looked great. The way it was filmed, the way it was orchestrated, it was much, much better than their first rally. Uh, you know, the mics and the mic work and everything was working. The music wasn't like drowned out. The weather was actually nice. Um, and the fans were there. There were a lot of people there. I don't know how many people there were there. Maybe it looked to be about maybe like 2,000 maybe during this whole rally, but it looked really, really, really great. My only thing was that I wish that they had like a world title that they revealed in due time. I don't think the mentioning of a AEW world title probably won't even come into fruition until they come out with their TV deal. But that was the only thing I wish that they would have like announced or shown was like the All Elite Wrestling Championship or something like that. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, if I was excited before during the first conference back on was it January 7th. Their second one here definitely rejuvenated and got me more excited for to see where All Elite goes, and I wish nothing but the best for it. Um, Already, you know, uh, people on the internet complaining. You have those negative Nancy's out there. Oh, Kenny Omega. It's just recently Kenny Omega had an interview. He just had. I forgot. I didn't even have my phone on me right now to look it up. But he just had an interview recently where he talked about WWE offering him, a really good deal and a really good contract. He was open about it. He said, "Hey, WWE, they've been very generous and gracious towards me, in their offer, and it was something that what did he say? He said it was really generous, and he thanked them for it. But All Elite offered him something far much greater, and basically it was like his creative freedom. For anyone who knows anyone or anyone who's a fan of Kenny Omega, Omega. He views wrestling differently than your typical, average wrestler. He views wrestling as like a form of art, and he, one of the things, and I think one of the reasons why Kenny Omega is so beloved amongst a lot of wrestling fans is because of his creative freedom. Because you look at WWE and everything is just so micromanaged. Everything is so, everything just funnels through one tunnel, one vision of one person that, there's a bit of lack of authenticity, in the WWE product. And, can't really knock Vince McMahon for it because, I mean, WWE has been, the cream of the crop of, the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, whether you like it or not. WWE they've been the mountain of professional wrestling for, 5 decades. So, to his credit, see why. But it's a bit refreshing to kind of see, that there are still wrestlers out there that want their creative freedom and how they like to book and produce their own matches, and it's just good to see that. And so that I think for anyone who ever thought that Kenny would come into WWE, that was always going to be the deciding factor was Kenny's creative freedom. I mean, we've heard tons of rumors leading up to his contract with New Japan ending. WWE offering him 4-year contracts worth $2+ million or $3 million, and a shot at the WWE Championship, a run, excuse me, with the WWE Championship, and him being inserted into the main roster, completely skipping NXT. All of those things are great. I mean, if you're a hot, free agent, and WWE offers you that type of lucrative deal, that type of contract, I mean, they pretty much gave this guy the king, the key to the palace. But the one thing that Kenny Omega's always valued was his creative freedom of his character and how he books things. And I think that if all of if all the things WWE were offering him would come at the price of his creative freedom and how he views wrestling and changing his wrestling styles, whatever the case may be, Kenny's going to turn that away. I mean, the average person might sign with WWE, but not Kenny. And then on top of that too, it's a wrestling company that is ran by his best friends. Let's not forget, back in midsummer of 2018, Cody Rhodes said that him, the Young Bucks, Adam Page, and Marty Scurll, and Omega, that wherever they go next, they're going together because they're like brothers or like family, whatever the terminology that Cody used. And we're seeing that come to light. Granted, Marty Scurll is in Ring of Honor right now. He's still locked down, I think, for like another year in his contract. If not another year, I think his contract expires maybe like early this summer. But still, for the most part, what Cody said last summer, it was true. It was absolutely true. Cody, the Bucks, and Heyman Page all came together, and they went to, they left ROH and New Japan, and they all went to form All Elite. They were just waiting for Kenny Omega, and Cody even said on their like a post press conference or whatever, he said Kenny was always a part of this. He was always going to be a part of this. AEW is not just a thing, an idea or something that was concocted between just Cody and the Bucks. Kenny was always a part of it, but they couldn't say anything because he still had like 4 or 5 months left on his New Japan contract. So, and even said as well that Kenny was also a big part of All In. He doesn't get any credit for it, but he was also a big part of producing All In and putting All In together back in October. So, when you look at those things, a company ran by his friends, he has creative freedom, and he signed a 4-year deal with All Elite, and he's also has the title of vice president. So not only can he keep the creative freedom for himself, but he can take his creative freedom and he can disperse it and book other key talent and other wrestlers as well. I mean, I don't know what the money that All Elite have offered him in his contract, but I'm sure he's not complaining either. It might not be as much as what WWE's offered him, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty damn good, salary on top of his creative freedom, on top of him being able to work with his friends, on top of him now being one of the 1/4 of being the vice president of All Elite of a wrestling company. Like, that is a better deal. I'm sorry. But you have people, some of them are trolls, but there are some wrestling fans that are legitimately just, they're sourpusses. I can't tell you, from Twitter to Facebook, I've seen them. They go and they say, "Oh, All Elite Wrestling." Oh, one person made a comment like, "Oh, I've seen this before. It's called Hulk Hogan and WCW with Hulk Hogan and friends." And it's like, if you're a wrestling fan, like, okay, if you like WWE and that's all you know, that's all you will ever know, that's all you ever watch, okay, fine, cool, no problem. But if you're a wrestling fan and you still make comments like that, or you make comments that you wish you hope AEW falls or whatnot, what type of wrestling fan are you? I mean, like, you have a very fixed mindset. You need to have a growth mindset because it's only going to be better for wrestling fans. I know a lot of wrestling fans, they want, they harbor for the days of the Monday Night Wars. Those days are gone. They're not gonna come back. There are some wrestling fans that are kind of, overhyping the shit out of AEW and kind of forcing like this in their minds a war between WWE and AEW. And it's like, for those fans, like, stop. Like, just stop. Tony Khan, Cody Rhodes, Young Bucks, they've all said they want to do something different. They want to be different. They're not looking to be direct competition with WWE. They're looking to be an alternative. So for people that are drawing the battle lines of AEW versus WWE, stop. Just stop. Monday Night War era is done. It's gone. Great times, best time in professional wrestling ever. But those days are done. Stop. We're entering to a new era, a new beginning. Let's do it right this time. Let's not have, the shit that happened with WCW and, WWE being the top kingpin over the last 20 years, the only big show in town. Let's have another big mainstream wrestling company that we can all get behind as fans. And it's another option, not only for talent, but also for wrestling fans to watch as well. Let's stop this, out for blood, war type of like thing. Stop. And then for the other wrestling fans that want to see AEW fall or fail, like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, really. Who in their right minds wants to see another wrestling company, like, fails? Like, who? It's more options, more opportunities for wrestlers to work, for fans to watch. If there's a wrestler that you don't like in WWE, I'm sorry, not WWE, but might not be working in WWE, they might fit better in a different environment like AEW, or vice versa. There might be some wrestlers that might not work or mesh too well in AEW's atmosphere, but may flourish in WWE. That's what we need. We need an alternative. We need competition, healthy competition, not direct competition, but just healthy competition overall. And then on top of that, too, like, they haven't even had their first show. They only had 2 rallies. Like, they've had 2 rallies. They only have 1 show that they've announced so far. They will be getting a TV deal. So let's knock that out of the park. Oh, AEW, the t-shirt company, stop. They have a TV deal in place. They just haven't locked onto it yet. They haven't announced it yet. Things will take time. People are expecting All Elite Wrestling to be announced, have a roster in place, have a TV deal, have a weekly televised show, and have a 12 calendar pay-per-view all set within a 1-week span. Like, not gonna happen. Rome wasn't built in a day. It took years for Ring of Honor to get to where it is now. It took years for, even TNA to grow. And yeah, the TNA's kind of, they haven't been the same since. The product's been good, but in terms of just like notoriety and whatnot, they've lost a lot of credibility in that. But the point is, these things take time. NXT didn't become the hottest brand in WWE that it has been over the last 5 or 6 years. NXT was a reality show. NXT was shit. They cut it off. They killed it for, 4 or 5 years. Then Triple H took it, rebranded it, revisioned it to what it is today. And NXT is the best thing since sliced bread. But NXT took time to get to where it is today. So let's not kill AEW and shoot it in the foot when they haven't even had a chance yet. Like, let's be honest. And then for the fans that go up here and say, well, they signed a bunch of nobodies and they've signed this and we don't know who this is. The whole point of them signing new talent is so that they can get exposure so that you can get to know about them. And don't give me shit about, oh, it's a bunch of nobodies. Because guess what? In the very early years of TNA, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Abyss, Christopher Daniels, Eric Young, all these people that were signed in TNA in the early years were a bunch of nobodies until over time you got years to grow. I mean, it's the same thing, exact same thing. For all those that cheer for Seth Rollins, you love a Seth Rollins, you love a Dean Ambrose, you love a Pac, or you love, The Miz, or Daniel Bryan, guess what? They were a bunch of fucking nobodies as well. But it took time for them to grow their craft, their character, get that exposure. Get that exposure from Ring of Honor to going to WWE and being elevated to a higher level in WWE. So for people that are complaining about AEW's roster being a bunch of nobodies, there's a reason why they're getting a bunch of quote unquote no names. Because let's be honest, if they were to sign a Randy Orton, which was rumored, false, if they were to sign a Randy Orton or a John Cena or you know, R-Truth or whomever else, you're gonna bitch and say, "Oh, well, AEW is no different than, you know, TNA. They're the retirement home for WWE, or AEW is signing a bunch of, you know, WWE has-bands. They're only signing WWE guys." It's like, what the fuck do you want? Do you want them to sign some names that have some notoriety, have some name value, but can grow and can be household names, or they sign a bunch of WWE talent or ex WWE talent or whatever, but they already have the name value because WWE is a brand. They have that, and they sign it, and you bitch and moan that, oh, it's WWE Light or it's another version of TNA. They're no different than TNA and blah blah blah. Like, what is it? This is why wrestling fans, to me, they annoy the hell out of me, because it's damned if you do, damn if you don't. Shut up and pick a side, or just like don't say nothing at all, and let those of us who are enjoying, you know, this fresh ride of AEW and see it how it's developed. Let us enjoy it. I mean, that's really. I mean, like, God, it's annoying. It's really, really annoying. And then when they announced Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega too, there were literally wrestling fans I saw before even recording this morning. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho 2. I thought AEW was about, you know, something being something new, something fresh. We've already seen this. And I literally have to say, you have to be one of the dumbest idiots to complain about seeing Chris Jericho versus Omega 2. Like, really. Here's why we're getting Chris Jericho versus Omega 2. One, it was a good match. The first match that they had at Wrestle Kingdom 12 was good. Whether you like it or not, that's your prerogative, that's your opinion, you're entitled to it. But their first match was great. Secondly, only the hardcore wrestling fans have seen it. Thirdly, it's been a year. Unlike, say, Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin 25 times over a 1 month span on Monday Night Raw, or Randy Orton versus, you know, I don't know, Daniel Bryan 10 times. I'm just saying, you know how WWE has been very, very repetitive in their matchups and their match types. You know, this week it's Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor. Week after that, it's Finn Balor and Sheamus versus Baron Corbin and Samoa Joe. Week after that, it's Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin in a cage match. You know, it's the same shit. So shut the fuck up about Jericho and Omega 2 when it's been over a year since we even had their first match. And this is just match number 2. And we get like 10 rematches with the same matchups on Monday Night Raw. Like, stop. It makes no logical sense for you to be complaining about saying Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega 2. Secondly, reason why they're doing this is double or nothing. Bet your bottom dollar they're going to be taking the show double or nothing, and they're going to be pitching this to their potential television companies to try to get a network. It's double or nothing is going to be a big show. Just like All In, they got some good receptions from like WGN, like the outcome of All In, and there were some other TV stations that were interested in what All In was doing. They liked it. If they can replicate that with Double or Nothing, they need something like a Chris Jericho versus Omega. You need the big matches. You need the big names. Jericho being probably on that roster even more so than Kenny Omega. The most the biggest name that the roster has and it has the most notoriety is Chris Jericho. So you want to fill up that Double or Nothing card with some of your biggest and best matches possible. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho 2 makes a lot of sense. A, they've only had one match. It's been a year and a half since they fought for the first time. 2, even if you want to go back and tell this from a story, remember, Chris Jericho attacked Kenny Omega at All In back in October. Who's to say that that was not a seed planted to continue their feud here for AEW and just carry it over to AEW? It makes perfect booking sense. And then lastly, like I said, they want to put on the best shows possible with the biggest names. If they do, they do Double or Nothing, and it's a success. They say, hey, we have Lucha Bros versus Young Bucks. We've got Pac versus Hangman Page. We've got Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho 2. That's gonna be a nice pitch idea or pitch product to put to these potential TV networks that AEW are trying to snag, and getting a new weekly TV deal. But people aren't seeing it as that. And then on top of that, it's for the casual fans as well. It's going to get more eyeballs to tune in. Hardcore wrestling fans, we watch everything. We watch every wrestling company. So for us, okay, yeah, we seen Jericho versus Omega, but that was in New Japan. How many fans, how many people, even just casual fans, are going to stay up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on a weekday or a weekend, whichever January 4th happens to fall on, to watch Wrestle Kingdom, stay up, for 4 hours to watch a wrestling match in Japan? Not going to happen for a lot of people. So having Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega makes sense. It's going to bring some new, fresh eyes to the product. People that are now looking and say, oh, wait, Jericho actually left WWE. He's in this other wrestling company. Oh, okay. Who's he facing? Kenny Omega. Who's that? Oh, shit, this is a good match. Let me stick around and see what this product has to produce. It makes all the sense in the world why they would do Omega versus Jericho 2. So I don't get wrestling fans, the ones that complain about that. It makes no sense. How do you complain about a feud that, like I said, it's like, it just makes no sense to me. And on top of that, it was a good feud. It'd be different if it was like, the matches was bad, or, the feud wasn't clicking. That's not the case at all. The feud worked. The match was great. Yeah, so what? Jericho's like, 47, 48. He might not work or be able to keep up with, the physicality of a Kenny Omega, but they can work around that. They can work around whatever limitations Jericho has, and they can put on a great match. That was proven not once but twice. The match that Jericho had with Omega back in Wrestle Kingdom 13, and the one he just had this past month or last month with Tetsuya Naito for the Intercontinental title. No DQ match. So Jericho can still put on a good match. But I just want to get that out there. That's just like a little rant on wrestling fans that just already ready to shoot this thing down before it even gets to take off. I like All Elite. I like what they're doing. I think they're signing some interesting talent, some talent that we know, some that we don't. It's definitely going to be interesting to see All Elite try to be kind of like this one big giant hub. It seems like to form partnerships and do a lot of talent exchanges. Like I said, once again, in the post press release or whatever, Matt Jackson and Cody were talking to the press, and they were saying that, hey, they want to make AEW something different. They want to make it a little bit of old, a little bit of new. They want to take the things that from WCW and that made WCW cool and kind of updated and bring some of those elements back. But they said, what they're doing is completely different. AEW is a completely different animal than what WCW was. So, they're not looking to replicate anything that hasn't been done before, but just, mix something old with something new. And I think it's great. I think their weekly shows being the elite, which was always great, they've taken that platform and they've been able to showcase other talent. MJF, that guy is great. I noticed MJF back from MLW last year. The guy is really good on the mic. He is good on the mic. He can be like their Miz, but I think he might be better on the mic than Miz because he just plays such a good shit talking heel. The guy is entertaining to watch. He's a good wrestler, but he's 22, he's prime and young, and for him to have the type of mic ability that he has at the age of 22, he's definitely going to be one of those homegrown talent, young talent from AEW. That's definitely going to be interesting to watch, foster and grow for sure. He definitely has a bright future. But just to, for example, people like him, he how he's getting over on the being the elite show when he appears, or SCU, in which they're veterans, but still, you're seeing sprinkles of some talent that will pop up on the show, and they're showing their personalities and stuff. So it's smart marketing. It is. It's smart. How they're showcasing their talent on the being the elite show, and to kind of get you notice to kind of get you to be aware of these guys that they're signing. So when they do get to their show, and whenever they do get that TV deal, you would kind of know who these guys are already because you watch being the elite. So yeah, didn't really mean to make this 40 minutes long, but wanted to get some stuff out here. I want to talk about the rally. Wanted to rant on some fans. We're ragging on AEW already. You guys let me know what you think. Kenny Omega signing, the build for this show, Double or Nothing. They're looking already. They just released today the arena blueprint for the arena for seatings or whatever from the MGM studio. I've heard they're looking to maybe fill out maybe 12 to 14 or 16,000. That'd be interesting. All in did like 10,000. They sold out 10,000 seats. So it'd be interesting to see if they can get that, 12 to 14,000 that they're trying to they're gung ho about. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think. Do yourself a favor, hit that like button, comment below your thoughts on all of this. Do you agree, disagree, whatever. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Peace out. Have a good one.